Okay, hello everyone, and welcome. Let me share our screen here. Okay. Okay. Hello everybody, and welcome to this, our final, our final installment of our autumn webinar series. My name is Josh Donner. I'm a regional teacher trainer and academic consultant for Southeast Asia here at Macmillan. And it's autumn. I'm based in Ho Chi Minh City right now, so things aren't really cooling down in autumn. But as a Canadian, that's kind of what I think about for autumn. So let's just check if our chat is working. If you would like to, please just drop where you're watching from and what's the weather like today. Here, like I mentioned, not really feeling cool like autumn, but it's quite rainy, so it's definitely cooled down a bit. And yeah, we have a few people in from Bangkok. Hello, good evening to you. And yeah, where else is anybody watching from? Hello, hello. Hope everyone is having a good evening. In the meantime, let me just recap what we've done with our autumn webinar series. So you get this chat out of the way. Yeah. Okay, so our series that we've been going through, hello from Vietnam, hello from Bangkok, a few viewers from Bangkok, very cool. And our series, our autumn webinar series, From the Page to Real Life Communication, from the page to real life communication, find your students' voice. I'm sorry to hear about the overcast weather, but hello as well. So let me talk a little bit about what we'll do. So looking back at our whole journey, so we could talk about our 2025 teacher growth journey, which is the way that Macmillan continuously supports teachers in their growth and professional development. And there's four main components of this. So first, we have master classes. These are in-depth lesson planning sessions where the trainer will share some insights on how to get the most of our lead course books. If you're lucky enough to join us tonight, Blue will be leading one of those sessions for us just shortly. Also, we have our seasonal webinars. Super hosted one of those last week, but that's just training sessions on up-to-date educational trends, things that we feel like teachers should know, or certain techniques or things that you could work into your classroom. And then we also have discussions and debates on relevant topics in ELT. And finally, voices in ELT management, discussions on more kind of leadership and management topics. So to follow all of that and to kind of get updates on that, please follow us on Facebook. You can see the link here, or on WeChat. So if you're interested in either of these products, you can reach out to either these emails or follow us for more updates with our webinar series. Okay, so a quick recap of what we've had so far in our webinars. Like I mentioned last week, Super hosted a great webinar on having authentic speaking questions for your students. And then just after that, we had a global session for our Advanced Learning Day for universal design learning. So making your lesson plans, more inclusive, more able to cater to diverse student levels. And then tonight, we have Blue, who is joining us for a masterclass, giving learners a chance to find their voice, which personally, to me, really resonates, particularly for students who are a bit shy, have a bit more of an effective filter in class, getting them involved, getting all the students involved in their own way. A bit of housekeeping before we get started. So after our training session tonight, you can expect a downloadable certificate as well as a recording of our session and the slides as well. So just expect that within the week of our recording. And without further ado, we're talking today about giving learners a chance to find their voice. Let's see if we can find Blue's voice. Hello.
Yeah, good evening, Joshua. How you doing there in Saigon?
I'm quite well, thank you. You've passed the torch in this city. How is the UK? How's the weather there?
It's beautiful in the sense that it's autumn, but it's
Okay.
also a little bit chilly as well. Hence, the need for the cardigan. So there
Now,
you go.
fair.
Yeah.
It is lovely. Yeah, and then I guess I gave a brief intro, but if you want to speak any more about what we'll be learning tonight from you.
By all means, if I have the ability to share my screen, I'm
Of
just going to
course.
replace it from yours. Thank you very much. Firstly, Southeast Asia. It's great to be back. I hope you're all doing well, wherever you are in the region, be it Philippines, Thailand, Cambodia. I know we've got some people representing Vietnam. Of course, I moved away from Vietnam a good 6-7 months ago now. I do miss it. I miss the food, I miss the culture, and I certainly miss the weather. So hopefully all of you can see my screen. And as Josh just mentioned, we are going to be piecing together a masterclass in terms of a lesson plan where we optimize your student speaking. And that's really what we're going to be focusing on for the next 58 minutes and 32 seconds, Josh.
Perfect. So I will leave you to it. I will be in the chat, just curating any questions anybody might have, and I will see you at the end for the Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Josh. And I'm just going to sort of play around with my curtains over here to make sure the sun from outside is not glaring through, which is a rarity. The fact that the sun is even there should be celebrated. So as you can see on my screen right now, or your screen, I should say, we are looking at optimizing that speaking opportunities for your students in your class. And it's the final piece of the 2025 autumn webinars, courtesy of the fantastic team at Macmillan Education. I'm honored to be here with you guys today. As you can see, my name is Blue, and I'll be walking you through this lesson plan. As ever, I don't want to spend the next 60 minutes feeling like I'm talking to myself. It can get quite awkward, this whole webinar thing, even 5-6 years down the road. So feel free to be interactive with me, use those fingers and type questions and any interactivity that I can engage with as we go along this journey together. So as you can see, in terms of source material, we're going to be using Find Your Voices, which is rather apt, isn't it, for what we're going to be looking at today in terms of your students building that confidence when trying to communicate in your classroom. So in terms of Find Your Voice, it's an exciting new series that we at Macmillan Education are proud to bring to you later this year and sort of rolling throughout the series through 2026 and 2027. It's designed specifically for that awkward, I might say, age of preteens and young teenagers, basically where they're trying to find their voice and build that confidence up. It's a British English book in content that spans the lower levels in terms of A1 beginner all the way up to sort of that A2 plus sort of beginner intermediate threshold. And what I love about this, it has been created in collaboration with some key experts in the area of child development. And what that ultimately comes down to is making sure the book is clearly sort of leveled and scaffolded accordingly in terms of building student confidence throughout. The link is in the chat right now if you want to delve in yourself. But again, it builds those core skills in terms of fostering that personal growth personally in the classroom in order to engage with others, but also helping learners develop that inner confidence to make sure that their voices are heard. So yeah, go check it out, take a look, and that is what we will be using today as I guide you through this lesson plan. But a caveat, of course, we're using Find Your Voice, but with any lesson plan, this is completely bespoke It can be tailored according to your specific needs or your students' needs. So anything I offer as an example, feel free to elaborate on what you might do. Tell me what you might do, how you might change it. And also just take this away simply as a template for you to then use it yourself and for your specific needs. Because as Josh mentioned at the beginning, this will be available to you. And I'll also add a PDF of the lesson plan as well. So as a teacher, I think it's always important to sort of put the book away to one side for one moment and to think about what your expectations are before you go into the classroom and deliver a specific lesson. So these are my expectations for this speaking lesson, which we are about to go on our journey with. Number one, I want my students to be active participants. It goes without saying, it's a speaking lesson. There needs to be some active participation in there. Hopefully there's opportunities to recycle and reinforce the sort of core content of what we're trying to deliver, given my students ample opportunity to use whatever the structure is, whatever the vocab might be in that particular lesson. It's important and it's vital, whatever the context might be in the book, that we also look at different ways in which we can create our own context that might make it personable or relatable to our students. We know we are rich in culture in our Southeast Asia region across the different countries. And there's always ways in which we can take that content from the book and maybe mix it up, change it up, and make it a little bit more relatable to where we are and the students that we are teaching. This really comes back to that one specific point there, doesn't it? It's going to be about a student-centered approach to their learning. And within that, a kind of cherry on top of this is I don't want to be spending my whole lesson speaking. I want my students to be doing the majority of the talking time. And sort of encapsulates in that the whole meaning of this lesson. The whole point is we want it to be engaging, atmospheric, and the fact that they're going to leave the classroom remembering what they have just learned. So some basic principles in there as a teacher, but also some specific things for this speaking lesson, which I, at the back of my mind as a teacher, will always be reminding myself of when I'm piecing together a personalized lesson plan for my lesson. So today's lesson, I have chosen to use Find Your Voice, Student Book 2, okay? So we're still kind of on that upper A1 level. And I chose this particular lesson just because. No specific reason, it's just the one sort of that I gravitated towards. And it's this one here. Don't worry if you can't see that nice and clearly for the time being, because of course we're going to delve in piece by piece, all those fragments, all those pieces of the lesson, we will really delve deep into. But basically, we're going to basically focus on that thing that's popped up at the bottom there, asking for opinions and expressing yourself. I thought this was a good one to choose in the sense that, well, we want students to find their voice. And that really does begin, doesn't it, with students feeling comfortable offering their opinions, but also being comfortable with people disagreeing with their opinions, maybe. So this is this sort of lesson core of what the content of this particular lesson 5 speaking offers. They're going to express opinions, basic sentence starters. Students will offer preferences and reactions to other people's opinions. Create and participate in short dialogues, okay? And as you can see with that last sentence, I've highlighted it, I've put it bolder and in italics for a key reason. What I feel the beauty of this level is, those sort of pre-teens, sort of young adults as they develop, is basically, as the title of the book suggests, that ability to find their voice and not always be uncomfortable with the idea that there is no right or wrong. There's no black or right. There's no yes, correct, or no wrong answer. It's all about that gray area, which often can be magical, where you have to get through to your students that, no, I don't want to know what's right or wrong. Don't worry about right or wrong. I want you to offer your opinion and justify your opinion with reason. Support your opinion with reason. And if you can do that, you are on your way to developing a key and vital skill that will really help you in your examinations moving forward. Okay, and that's something key, which this particular lesson does well in breaking down, and those barriers of students worried about losing face because they're looking for right or wrong, where there simply isn't any. So yeah, that's why that's highlighted and sort of in italics, because it's really important to sort of what our lesson is all about today. So here is the lesson plan. Again, I will offer all of this as a PDF and put it in the chat at the end, and make sure it is part of your virtual goodie bag at the end, which will get sent out to you with your certificates, of course. So of course, general idea for a lesson plan is, just as a teacher, I like to remind myself what day of the week it is. I mean, I'm lost already. Is it Monday? Is it Tuesday? Is it Wednesday? So the day of the week, the class level, maybe the amount of students in terms of maybe what photocopying you need to do. And of course, how long am I going to be in there for? An hour and a half. And in terms of learning goals, just a simple thing that might allude to the book's content and objectives. Here, I just want to make sure my students have the ability to leave the classroom feeling comfortable with different ways to express themselves. And just a reminder to myself to be nice and organized, what I might need in terms of materials and tools and resources for my particular lesson. So this will be the warmer, or more of an introduction before the warmer. Thumbs up, thumbs down. And as you can see, the icon in the far corner, books are closed at this moment in time. The books will not be open. Either teacher going to lead everything, and I don't want students exposed to what content will come. I want to present to them ideas first, which will allow me as the teacher to establish their known level and sort of previous understanding of the concept ideas we're about to present. So nothing is more universal than something good or something bad, something I agree with or something I disagree with. Thumbs up, thumbs down. So as an active participant, students can sort of get engaged, and you, the teacher, can see their level of understanding. And I'm simply going to present the students with different statements of what I believe. Students will then agree with me or disagree. Simple. So the first one, here we go, everybody. I think, okay. I think Ronaldo is better than Messi. And of course, the students, yeah, teacher, you're right. Teacher, you're wrong. And you're going to get that organic feedback, okay, straight away. And again, okay, Bao, what do you think? Okay, Tun, what do you think? Okay. And again, hopefully organically, whether structurally it's correct or right, they're going to offer you something back. Building those foundations, seeing where your students' understanding is at that point. So another one, I believe. So this now is a place where a teacher ideally can start building this vocabulary bank up. So what I would do personally is I would elicit to the board everything I've used so far. I think, I believe. Simple, yeah? Doesn't need to be spoken. It just needs to be elicited to the board. And then hopefully students organically can start to see that connection. Ah, teacher said, I think. This time teacher's saying, I believe, but I know substitution, I can use one or the other. Got it. Okay, nothing has to be overtly explained or explicit. It's just there for students to follow along with. I believe playing computer games is boring. And I'm sure you're going to get a number of students who disagree with the teacher's opinion. So again, in my opinion, same thing, recycle. And in my opinion, attending a Macmillan Education webinar is a great use of my free time. Let me know in the chat if you agree with me. I hope you do. Yeah, I can see some thumbs up there, of course. And there's my good friend, Del. There he is. So yeah, you get the idea. And what you can slowly do is hopefully you can see now we're presenting this, but also in a scaffolded way that we can sort of start to take some of that support structure away, can't we? So here, as you can see, I've got a blank, and my students are just going to offer me their opinion using the blank. They've got the vocab there in the bank. I think, I believe, in my opinion. And hopefully from the context, they can see that they need to fill it in with the name of an animal. Okay, so in the chat, please finish this for me. Let's go with, oh, there's my picture. I should have slowed that one down. What's Amir put? Hey, Amir, how are you doing there? Dell's picture and shirt. Yeah, it's a cracker, isn't it? But yeah, it's a simple fact that dogs make the best pets. I don't think there's any area to argue with there, unless you want to debate. Give me your opinion. That's what it is. But you get the idea. it's a scaffolded approach. You take those pillars of scaffold and support structure away, and hopefully as a teacher, Kat, says my good friend in Shanghai, Dolores. I know she is really a cat person. I'm a dog guy. But you get the idea. You're taking away that structure, and straight away, it gives you a platform then to work off. So that would bring me to the warmer. Okay, a very quick introduction to the idea. We're going to play Connect 4. Okay. So basically what we're going to do, everyone, is it's a walk around and mingle activity. I'm going to give all my students this same template. Okay, each and every student will receive one of these. And what they're going to do, basically, is not play Connect 4 because it's going to take long in Mr. Blue's 90-minute lesson, but we're going to play Connect 3. Okay, and hopefully you're aware of this game. I'll go through some instructions with you, but basically we are going to give the students the questions that they need. There's 16 questions there, and they are going to try their best to fill in as many of those circles as possible. All of them are questions that hopefully will evoke opinion, I think, but someone might disagree. What do you think about cats? Is football fun? What's the best animal? Books are better than films, okay, and so forth. You get the idea. And what students are going to do is randomly, they're going to note take their answers, okay? Red is better than blue. Rain is not good. Music does help me study. And they're going to put it randomly in all the boxes, okay? So no one's really going to have the same answers in the same boxes, okay? They're going to fill up all the boxes, blah, blah, blah. You've got lots of answers. So a number of things there, a few caveats, I guess. Number one, you're going to hopefully encourage the students to get everything full because they're going to need this in a moment to then play the game against their partner. Okay. Secondly, what I love about this is you're encouraging your students another key skill: note taking, short form, writing answers without having to spell everything out in complete sentence structure. Okay. So yeah, a few good things there for students to learn once they have completed. And again, as you can see, mine's 4x4. You can play Connect 2 if you want and have a shorter grid, whatever works for you. Okay. But basically what we're going to then do is we're going to Connect 3. Once the grid is complete, students will work in pairs. They will face off against their partner. One student is, of course, the red token. Their opponent is not red, but yellow. So let's say teacher says it's red. So red will go first for argument's sake. I, the teacher, will then offer one of the questions. Is summer better than winter? And of course, the person who is red token will fill in the answer, sort of color it in with a red pencil or crayon. Okay, so here we've got Bao. Bao says, yes, teacher, I believe that winter is better than summer. I don't like feeling hot. Or they might give me the opinion of the person they spoke to. It's completely up to you how you wish to deploy this activity. And of course, self-explanatory, Bao will then color in red. It will then be yellow turns, okay? Same thing. What do you think about cats? Oh, I love cats. They're the best animal ever. Color it yellow. Self-explanatory, everybody. This will continue until someone has got their colored circle horizontally, diagonally, across, whatever it might be, 3 consecutive times. Teacher, I've won. Well done, men. There you go. Connect 3. Pretty self-explanatory, lots of layers to it, but straight away, you're getting students to interact with the key content and concept of what the lesson is hoping to delve into. And again, you're going to hear mistakes. That's the beauty of it. You're going to hear collective mistakes that hopefully as a teacher can go back to and sort of, as a class collectively, sort of allude to and highlight. So there's no individual pressure for students to feel like they're being watched or looked upon, but almost organically, you've given them the vocabulary bank and you're just basically asking them to answer questions that you've created to their level in order to offer opinion and disagree and agree. And what I love about this is even though we haven't ventured into the book's content about agreeing or disagreeing with opinion, you will hear your students organically react to what opinion is being given. So it really does help set sort of the level before we delve into the book. So there we go. I'm not going to dwell on my lesson plan as such, because I've just explained it, first and foremost. I don't want you guys to fall asleep. I know it's late in Southeast Asia. But secondly, you will all receive this as a PDF at the end when you, in your own time, can go ahead and look. I'm just going to highlight key things if necessary. So again, thumbs up, thumbs down. And then we did connect 3, didn't we? Okay, fill in, mingle around. And then the next layer to that beautifully layered cake, of course, is students will give you the answers. You, the teacher, can manipulate in terms of how fast you want to go, how slow you want to go, how many answers you want fed back to you from your students. You can really manipulate the time in order to work for you and sort of amplify the student talk time. And again, here's an example. The classmates might read their answer aloud, personalize their answer about their self, or again, give you feedback about what answers were given to them from the person they asked. You get the idea. Hopefully that makes sense. There's a little question there for you. It's rhetorical. I hope it does make sense. But if it doesn't, feel free to put questions into the chat and I'll entertain the questions at the end. Okay. So that brings us to the book. And as you can see, the icon is still there. Books are closed. I'm a firm believer that the content in the book is rich, but also the way you deliver the content is key and vital to your students' application and understanding of the content. And so what that means to me is if I open this book and as a student I saw that picture, I'd be less engaged with the activity the book is offering it to me. Simply because, well, you know, I can read the text below. It's kind of spoiled because I can look ahead to what's happening or what does happen because the dialogue is there. And so I find the best sort of thing as a teacher you can do is that idea of mystery. And hopefully that inquisitivity of the students will develop because they want to see if answers they've guessed and predicted are correct. So pre-listening is key here. I would offer my students this image, but I wouldn't have them open their books yet. And as you can see, in this first task, exercise 1, we're going to look at the photo and guess what Anna and Daniela are talking about. So again, there might be some clues, something aesthetics they can see in the picture that might offer some clues to your students, but also you just want them to have guesses, prediction. Why? Because it invites discussion and it creates curiosity. It allows students, again, to share their opinion because it's all about I think, I believe. I don't know, but this is what I think might happen or they might be talking about. And it encourages your student to actively listen when it does come to the activity itself, because now your students are actively engaged with what answers they're going to hear because they want to see if their predictions match up with what actually does happen in the story. Simple. We're not reinventing the wheel here, but they're really key ways to get your students engaged with the content of the book you're presenting. So what I would do first is caption this, okay? So we're going to practice creative speaking with short opinion statements. So I need your help, okay? You're going to award students maybe for their creativity and use of expression, and maybe the pair work, the pairs themselves can share the captions with the class. So we've got our 2 young ladies here, okay? Anna and Daniela. And what I would do is I would give my students Anna, Daniela, and 2 blank speech bubbles. And what I would encourage my students to do is write what Anna is saying to Daniela or vice versa, whichever way you want to do it, okay? So any volunteers in the chat, let's get your fingers warmed up. The lady on my left, Daniela, well, what do you think she is saying? Give me some examples in the chat, please, people. Don't make me wait too long. Silence can be awkward. But let me know in the chat. Let's see who's got the fastest fingers in Southeast Asia. What do you think Daniela is saying to Anna? What have we got? We've got, I like your hairstyle. We have our hair in the same style. Good. Wow. That's so creepy that both of you, thousands of miles apart, came up with the same thing. Cool. So hair is the theme. Come on, people out there. Let's see your fingers moving. Let's see some interaction. But you get the idea. You can get your students to present theirs at the end. You can even take a class vote as well. After caption this, what you could also do is prediction questions. Okay, so you, the teacher, might go through the dialogue that is about to be presented to them and pick out key questions that could be asked. So I do want you to interact with this one, everyone. In the chat, I have some questions for you. What do the girls want to buy Raphael for his birthday? So there's one question. Feel free to let me know in the chat. What do the girls want to buy Raphael for his birthday? The students are simply going to write down their guess. Okay. They might use a picture to help them, but let me know in the chat what you put. Lauren, thank you. A new football. Block, says Rona. Thank you. We've got some people waking up now. I put the original Game Boy. Whether I'm right or wrong, contextually, my answer is okay. And that's what we're looking for. Students to be encouraged, whether their answer is right or wrong, but does it fit? Yun says a shirt or toys. Okay. Second question. What word does Daniela use to describe guinea pigs? So again, hopefully here, your students will be able to identify that you're looking for an adjective, a word to describe the guinea pigs. Chubby, says Josh. Cute, says Rona. And you get the idea, don't you? These questions are all about sensible guesses, contextually based guesses. And if your students are doing that, you've got them in the right place, you've got them in the right sort of order. So let's say I put intelligent. And the last questions, guinea pigs are something than crocodiles. So again, hopefully students can identify what kind of word they're looking for there. Okay. An adjective in its comparative form, happier. Tastier, interesting. How much does the book cost? We don't know. We're just going to have a guess. £22.75. Friendlier, says Chorthip. And I can't think of any more questions, so we'll finish there. Jinky says smarter. Guinea pigs are smarter. So hopefully you can see if students are doing this in pairs, number one, they're going to be conversing, talking to one another. Number two, they're going to be disagreeing, but they've got to write one answer. So again, they're going to be giving their opinion and agreeing or disagreeing with one another's opinion before they finalize and put one solid prediction. And number three, the cherry on top is now when you listen to the dialogue, your students will be listening, hopefully. So we're not going to listen just purely because of time, but what I will do is go through the answers. So here you go. Raphael is going hopefully to receive a book for his birthday. I think guinea pigs are cute. So some of you will write in that one. Guinea pigs, friendlier than crocodiles. And the last one, how much does the book cost? Well, I was way off. It was £1.20. And they don't even pay £1.20. They pay £1. What a bargain. So there you go. So hopefully a pre-open book activity, really useful. And then your students can open the book and engage with the dialogue. There's already a general understanding there of the narrative. Now you can sort of ask some sort of ICQs, maybe some concept check questions as well in terms of the content of the dialogue, and also maybe get your students to practice reading it as well. So hopefully that all makes sense in terms of pre-listening. We've got a bit of caption this for a bit of fun engagement. I really like that one. You can have great fun with that, especially with the students who are creative in their ideas. And there's no right or wrong answer there. That's what I love about it. But also you can give votes for funniest, most realistic, or even most creative students' ideas. And then, of course, the prediction questions. I love doing any predicting. Anytime there's an opportunity to do prediction, I will do it. Books close, students guess, and then they're going to be actively engaged with what's to come next. And what I put there, sort of highlighted it as well. Encourage a range of different answers. Again, this whole opinion thing is not about being right or wrong, is it? So it really allows the students to investigate the language themselves, the context themselves, and their own ideas. I love it. So exercise one also, as I just mentioned, in terms of the book, you might get your students to pair or trio read. Opportunity for students to peer correct. So it's another thing I used to do in the classroom a lot. Take your step back as a teacher and allow your students to be the teacher and act as the teacher and correct their peers. And again, you, the teacher yourself, can take that opportunity to walk around the room and identify any common mispronounced words or any misunderstanding that might be taking place. And again, cherry on top, refine their fluency, which is really important when delivering opinion and disagreement or agreement, but also their intonation and their enunciation as well. So that brings us to exercise 2. And again, what students are going to do here from the book, you can see the highlighted instruction there. Watch or listen, read again. Look at the sentences in bold and match them. So basically, it's one of those activities that lends itself to the activity that's come before. Listen again, read again. But what we're going to do is we're going to try and make it interactive, get our students working together and talking organically. We're going to do some sorting. So all of those phrases, I'm going to give them out on pieces of paper, maybe laminated so I can use them again in another lesson for another class. And again, students are simply going to sort them into the correct order. But with this one, what I have found is you're going to get fast students, you're going to get slower students, and you don't want students finishing and going, teacher, we're done, nothing to do now. So we're just going to unsettle every other group and maybe help them or tell them the answers. So for your fast finishers in your classroom, why not set some challenges? Because by default, as fast finishers, maybe they're engaged with the content and they want more meat on your teaching bone. And what that means is you can give them more simple challenges, effective challenges. So I might give them some more laminated card or paper that can be erased. And I might say, well done, you've finished. Can you think of any more? If you can, write them down with the marker, put them in each separate category, whether it's asking for opinions or giving expression of opinion back, okay, whether you agree or disagree. So anything like that is really useful. And if they finish that challenge, well, guess what? There's another one. Can they then use any of those phrases that are right in front of them on the table? And again, the beauty of this is asking for expressing, they're going to start conversing like a dialogue conversation, okay? So again, a few caveats there, a few extra challenges which you can introduce to what in the book is a simple activity that students can do in 2 minutes, 90 seconds. But again, you've got a 90-minute lesson, 2-hour lesson, whatever it might be. It might be 45 minutes. But there's certain activities where even as quick as it might be in the book, let it breathe. See how you can take it from the book and bring it to life, amplify it, make it more, okay? Remember that one ultimate objective in this class is to get my students speaking, okay? So all of these activities, that's the mindset I've come with. Not just complete it in your book, but how can I turn this into something where you're going to be talking to the people around you? So exercise 3, which follows 2, of course, word substitution. Now, basically here, ladies and gentlemen, your students have to take those phrases which they've used in exercise 1 and exercise 2 and fit them contextually what fits grammatically in each sentence. Again, this could easily be done by the smarter students, the faster students, very quickly in the book. But that's not what our ultimate objective and goal is it? So what they're going to do is they're going to write the answers. But then we're going to slow it down and do a bit of word substitution. And I need your help right now, okay? Basically, we're going to try and keep the actual template the same. But we're going to see what words we can take out and which words we can move back in. Okay, so you set a challenge to your students to take this piece of text, erase words, write a different word, but it still has to make sense within this structure. So let me just change my pointer options to a pen. And we're going to start. Okay, I need your help, everyone, in Southeast Asia. So, for example, why don't we buy Mark? I could get rid of Mark, for example, and I could put, I don't know, Sue. Can anyone else in the chat tell me something to substitute and what to put in its place? Please help me out. I'm a struggling teacher here. I need some inspiration and advice and help. Any other words there that you can substitute out, put some new words in. Wedding. Lanyin, where can we put for his wedding? Got it. Contextually, I can find it. For his wedding. I love it. Thank you very much. Phone could be turned into bracelet, says Pooja. I love it. Thank you. And everyone gets the idea. Your students are going to have real fun with this, trying their best to beat the team next to them, to move as many pieces, but contextually, or I should say in terms of the template content, it still makes sense. The contents will, the context might change. We've changed suitor, mark, and bracelet and wedding. Phone cover to iPhone 17. You got some idea. And of course, someone's just mentioned it there, Chortip. Of course, you might then, Sue, the pronouns might change, okay? She instead of he. So all these things, even here, yes, I am, great idea, wonderful idea. How did you think of that? Anything. But you're going to see how much your students can change and then maybe get them to read it out or even make a gallery of it. If you print out the pictures bigger or this piece of text bigger, and they can go around the room and look at all the different ones that have been created. So it does lend itself to a gallery view and students walking around. But you guys get the idea, okay? I hope. Again, any questions, feel free. They will be addressed at the end. Let me just change my pointer options again. There we go. So, as a reminder, again, I'm not going to go through too much of this. You will receive it. But the sorting and word substitution, you're taking 2 exercises from the book, which could be done quickly, and building them to make them a lot more than they are. Okay? There we go. Thank you, Fam. I'm glad that you agree. Yeah, it's a good idea. I love word substitution. Your students are then being the detectives and identifying all those different grammatical structures, and they themselves are identifying what can work in that particular word space. It's wonderful. So, exercise 4, which follows 2 and 3. Put the words in the correct order to make sentences. Then in pairs, agree, check, or disagree, cross with the opinions. So we do what the book tells us, okay? But we're going to do an answer race. So what your students will do, ladies and gentlemen, is, number 1, they're going to race to decipher the sentences. So all of those scrambled up words and sentences will be deciphered and put incorrectly, okay? So you might give them a big piece of A3 paper to do this. You might get them to do it in their book, wherever you might do, a whiteboard maybe. But they're going to put that sentence into the correct order. So for example, number 1, I'm going to do this. This book is a great present. Are you okay with it? So once that's done, teams must work together to respond in agreement or disagreement. And you can set your own rules. So what I would do, everybody, is I would give my students scrap paper, torn up, different pieces, easily given, 20, 30 pieces for a team, whatever. And for each piece of paper, they must write 1 word on each piece of paper. Sure, let's, I can't even see my own screen, buy it. There's our answer. So, of course, you might get some quite quick thinking students. Oh, this is an easy game to win, teacher. Because instead of putting sure, let's buy it, we can just put sure. And they're right. They're not wrong, are they? So you can set the boundaries. You can set the stipulations. You might set the rules that you must include 4 or more words, that you must include X amount of words with X amount of syllables. Whatever you might do, you might add your own different stipulations to this particular activity. But the students are working together to decipher the sentence, but also then to piece together their answer. Okay? So a number of different ways that you can use this as a template, guys, but completely tailor it to your specific needs in the classroom. Okay? Again, I hope that makes sense. Pieces of paper torn up, 1 word on each piece of paper, decipher it, piece it together, and maybe you set the stipulation that you have not won the race until all of your team members have read the answer and the sort of reaction to the answer, whether that be the agreement or disagreement statement. There you go. Again, I love it. I'm not saying do all of this in your lesson with everything, but time pending, it's a nice way to let the activity breathe. So that brings us to what I call the cherry on top, okay? The show me what you've learned activity. And in the book, it's this right here. It's the scenario of it's your friend's birthday. In pairs, talk about these particular present options and choose one. So you're hoping, ladies and gentlemen, by this point, your students have been presented all this different rich vocabulary, the way we introduced it, okay, with opinion, agreement, disagreement, the games, the activities. They've practiced through the games and activities, the sorting, the word substitution, the piecing together with the paper race, okay? Finally, it's that cherry on top of can you produce? So it very much does, doesn't it, lend itself to that PPP approach, the presentation, the practice and production. But as you've seen throughout my tasks, my exercises, it is just that. It's very much a task-based learning approach as well. A nice blend of the two, I feel. And again, the caveat of this is I've set a 90-minute lesson for this, but yours might be shorter. It might be longer. So there's different ways to build upon or take things away, but still allow it to be functional in terms of getting the optimum speaking time for your students. So your aims with this, hopefully, are you wanted to see your students then personalize it, okay? It's all about personalization, this lesson, isn't it? All about giving opinions and feeling comfortable doing so. So you're hoping to see that. You're hoping to see some functional communication. So basically, you want to see student B react to student A organically. And again, we've given them that scaffolded support. We've given them that vocabulary already in order to do so. Hopefully as well, by this point, those sort of nerves have gone. The language is coming to them organically. And what will then help and sort of really in the future in terms of their delivery of spoken English or any other language it might be, is they forget about producing the words themselves, but they start to feel that emotion come through with their fluency, with their intonation, their delivery, okay, their stress on particular sounds, whatever it might be. That is the second stage. They're not worried about the words so much, but now it's all about that natural delivery. And of course, whether you want to see it as a formative approach or something a little bit more informal, it gives you the opportunity as a teacher to assess particular students, individuals, or even as a class as a whole. How are they getting on? How did they do with this particular lesson? But also for you as feedback. Did I approach it in the right way? Did I give them the opportunities to then show me what they can do in order to assess them? And that's the key, isn't it? It's all right getting to this last part of the lesson, saying we're on exercise 5. Go on, do it. You've got 5 minutes. And then you've got students sort of sat there blankly looking at the book, thinking, well, we would do it, but we don't feel comfortable with the content. You yourself as a teacher will know whether you've given them that ample support and teaching application in order to reach this stage. So what I would do with this, guys, is add more, really. You've got the one in the book. It's perfectly fine. It's great. It's wonderful. But why not add a few more? Even your students can suggest theirs. So for me, I put, I don't know, you and your friend have a choice of activities to take part in. Together, you must choose one. So we've got singing, dancing, playing basketball and playing football. And of course, we're all going to choose football, aren't we? Yes, Southeast Asia, we are. And then the second one, you and your family are going on holiday. Please decide where to go. And again, you're going to give them some random options from images you sourced off the World Wide Web. Okay, maybe somewhere cold, maybe somewhere in a jungle, adventurous. And for me, the only answer right now, in the middle of England on this gloomy autumn day, is to be on some sunny beach in the Philippines or Thailand or Vietnam. Oh, take me there right now. So again, hopefully you see the idea. You're building on that idea in the book. Encourage your students to offer their own scenarios and their 3 options. And you've got a really nice way to finish the lesson. Okay. So in terms of the lesson plan, it's right there, guys. I'm not going to dwell on this. You're going to give the blank strips of paper for the answer race. They're going to decipher the initial sentences and then write down their answers. And then for the role plays, it's pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? Students are going to act out the scenario, and you might even give them some more as well. You're encouraging your students to use the vocabulary they've learned in the book, but also delve deep into their own bank, their own vocabulary library, and unlock some of those words that lay dormant inside. And again, add those further situations. So that would be my lesson. What I'm going to do now in the chat, and again, if you don't grab it in the chat, don't worry, because I will send it to the team at Macmillan Education and make sure it is sent out with your certificates as part of your goodie bag and your recording of today's session. But I'm just going to put it in. It's a PDF, so it can be easily downloaded in a few seconds. It's a whole 1.05 megabytes in size. It just said it's been sent successfully, so hopefully it's in the chat for you to download. Okay, and what that is, again, is just 12 slides, 12 PDF pages of my lesson plan. Do with it as you wish, but hopefully there's a few ideas in there that have inspired you that you will try to attempt in your classroom. Okay, now I'm going to give you a bit of a bonus before I leave you and head back to Josh. It's an activity that isn't related to that particular lesson, but really does help itself as a buffer, whether at the beginning of the lesson or you've got 10 minutes to kill at the end of your lesson. And that's a game I really enjoyed playing the last few years. It's called Code Names. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Let me know in the chat if you're familiar with Code Names. I'm basically going to quickly give you a really, really brief overview of the rules. But I'm also going to give you the PowerPoint at the end for you to then play along with. And then, of course, you can Google the rules. But I'm going to give you the template to work with. So basically, let me know in the chat if you're familiar with Code Names, but let me just read the rules to you. Basically, let's start with the objective. You've got two teams, red, blue, okay? And you're going to compete to identify your team's secret words on a grid. So you can see an example of the grid there. So how this works, everybody, is like this. Each team, red or blue, will have someone nominated as a spy master. Okay, and this spy master is the one who will give you the clues to find the words that belong to your team on the board. So, for example, the spy master for team blue might say fly for 3. So the spy master can only give one word and then tell you how many words in the grid that clue relates to. So, for example, if I say fly for 3 words, have a guess in the chat. What words from that grid do you think I alluded to? Please let me know in the chat, guys. What do we think? The clue is fly. So, you've put jet. That's a good guess. So there's 2 more out there as well. Josh has said space. Any more? Phoenix. That's a very good guess. A phoenix from the fire, from the flames. Yeah, okay, some nice guesses. So again, the word is the clue and the number tells you how many words you're looking for on the grid. So you've got them really, guys. I think your team then, guys, let me just allude to this part, that your team will then discuss, because you don't want to make any wrong guesses. If you make a wrong guess, it's the other team's turn. So you might say jet, bank. Bank means you're banking that answer. That's the answer you're giving. Before you say bank, you still have time to sort of guess and sort of communicate with your team. So again, you're right. Jet was one of them. What was that one? Space was another. And I think Yin, Phoenix, correct. So basically, the objective of the game, ladies and gentlemen, is for your team to complete all of your spaces before the other team does. So you've got the red spaces here, of course. You've got the red spaces. Blue will also have their words. You've got some neutral spaces, which are neither blue or red. And then you will also have some, let me just get rid of my pointer. This space here, the detective, the black space, which means game over. If you say that word and bank it, your team loses. So again, you can do this. It's a template that I have created okay, where you can change these words to any words that you might be using in your classroom, okay? And honestly, with this, I honestly think AI can help you a lot. Feed in words that you're using, but also ask AI, can you give me some words related to those words to fill in the rest of the table? And it's a real challenge because maybe there's multiple words for your clue, but they're not your particular word that you're trying to give a clue for. And so students could get it wrong. They can guess a team's word, or they can guess the ultimate word, which ends the game altogether. And again, if that does not make sense, fret not, everybody. I will be putting that in the chat right now. So let me just do that for you before I say my farewells and open the floor to any questions you might have. But it's going to go in the chat right now. And that's code names. I encourage you to Google and look at the rules. It's a fantastic game. And if you enjoy it, I encourage you to go out and purchase it because it's a really good party game to play with friends and family as well. But it does work well in the class as a classroom tool. So guys, any questions, feel free to let me know in the chat. Otherwise, thank you for listening and hanging out with me for the last 51 minutes.
So there we are. Oh, we're back. Thank you so much, Blue. That was fantastic. I definitely picked up a lot. And just again, anybody who has any messages, they can send them through to the chat or just message them to me if you don't want to share it with everyone, and I can relay it here. But I'll just throw a few to get the ball rolling. So yeah, I thought your pre-listening tasks were really good. I thought, like, if they were in my classes, they generate a lot of interest. And the way that you differentiated the instruction for, the students who get the answers out really quickly was great. I was wondering what advice you might proffer for, the quieter students, and you're kind of moving around the class, particularly when they're in like their trios working together. How would you sort of, when the other students are getting really, energized and enthusiastic, make sure that those quieter students kind of still are contributing and keeping up, or, getting into it?
Yeah, it's a point well made, Josh. And it's a reality of a classroom, isn't it? Particularly when you're dealing with 30, 35 plus. You might be fortunate to be in a language center setting where it's intimate and you can hear the voices. But in a big class, voices can get lost and students can hide away and shy. The reality is, you kind of half answered your own question there also. The fact that if your students are focused on these trio or pair work activities, you yourself will have ample opportunity to work the room. And with that comes the opportunity to maybe sort of focus and center on the students who might struggle, who you might know no answers, but struggle to sort of engage and converse with others. It gives you that opportunity to go around, sort of make it more intimate in the way you're addressing that student, talking to them, whilst everybody else is doing what they're doing. That's the reality with a number of students. It's not a perfect world, and you might not get time to do all that. But hopefully the way that these activities are set up means that you, the teacher, I hope, have the opportunity to step back from the front and go, okay, we're doing this for 8-10 minutes. They are engaged, they're doing it. I'm going to use this time to focus on the students that need my extra support. Again, it's a picture perfect answer. I know in reality, there's a number of caveats that come along with that, but you are giving yourself the best opportunity to do so by setting these kind of tasks.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of, rubber hitting the road, I was also thinking about just the period between like the pre-opening the book exercises and then jumping into the book. And this is more of a closed question. Obviously, we could use topics like, Messi and Ronaldo, get them all really enthused. Would you recommend using like standalone topics, just focused on kind of getting them enthusiastic and encouraging the energy up, or linking the topic to the subsequent lesson?
50-50. For example, with that particular lesson, the actual theme across the unit is animals. But really, it's only explicit in the fact that they're buying a book for Raphael that has to do with animals. But really, it's a standalone lesson within a particular unit theme. You know, it's more about the objective of expressing opinions and voicing disagreement or agreement. So in that sense, yes, you can bring in a theme that might tie it all together, or vocabulary that they've just learned. But I always find the best way to engage your student and get them on board with what's to come is personalize it straight away, from the beginning to the end. Any way that you can sort of, you know, that the girls in the corner love their K-pop music, you know, the boys at the front love their Premier League football, whatever it might be. Any way that you can capture that and sort of bring it to their attention. Also make it relatable to the teacher themselves as well, because I always find students are inquisitive, especially when they've got teachers from far, far away from the other part of the world. They want to know about you. And any way that you can bring it back to you and sort of engage them about you, but using English, is magical. I'm sure you've been there yourself, Joshua. So I would say it's a 50-50 approach. Lend it to the book's content if you want to draw vocabulary or recycle vocab, but by all means, always make it personable.
Perfect. One question from the chat, this is from Jinky. I'll just read it out. So how can primary teachers adapt active listening exercises to support diverse learners, including those with language difficulties?
Yeah, scaffolding. It has to be the way. And again, unfortunately, we're talking about a perfect world, because you can't scaffold everything for everyone. And in order to scaffold for one student, others might not need that extra support. So realistically, sentence starters, vocabulary or glossary banks that students can take vocabulary from in order to substitute or fit in. But any of these kind of support structures that you might see explicit in books, but you're doing before the book. And I hate to say it, but sometimes it's about applying common sense. Again, going, I've got the stronger students in the class, I've got the weaker students in the class. Where can I meet them in the middle? Okay, where basically there's a support system, hopefully in the class, where if I meet them in the middle, the stronger students can engage with the weaker students. And because of the material I've produced, they're both going to be engaged. Okay, because we know as much as we need to help the students that are struggling, we don't want to disengage the smartest, I hate smarter students, the students who are stronger with the material. Okay,
right.
Finding that middle ground. Seating plans is key as well, but also knowing your students and knowing, well, if this is a group, it wouldn't work. But if this is a pair, I know that they're going to sort of rub off on one another and support one another. So there's a number of, there's a whole workshop we could do on diverse learners and different approaches. But in a nutshell, I hope that kind of addresses the question.
Yeah, it certainly does for me. And it also just speaks to, you know, what I personally love about teaching, which is we could always be doing it better. And, you know, you never have that perfect class, but you can always just keep striving for it.
Exactly.
So perfect. I'd encourage anyone else to throw in any questions if they think of any ones or if anything percolates. Otherwise, so thank you so much, Blue, for the wonderful. Also, thank you for code names. Had never played it with my students. I'd only played it with my friends as an adult.
Yeah,
oh my
God, a long time to make that. Yeah,
I've
not used it. So enjoy that. It's good.
That's fantastic. So thank you so much. Let me pop back over to my slides here. Oh. There we are. Okay. There we are. So yeah, just of course, we just had this seminar. This was, as we mentioned, the last seminar of our autumn webinar series. So again, thank you to Blue. And of course, that was our Q&A there. Please, this is very important for us. Please share your feedback on the session. You can follow the QR link here. Also, yeah, there we are. You can follow the QR link to share your feedback. Very important for us to help improve these sessions, make sure they're serving you best. So please go ahead and do that. We are. And again, back to the housekeeping. Just a reminder that, of course, as has been mentioned, there will be an email sent out to everyone with, and a link to the survey in the chat now as well. But an email sent out with a certificate for completing this webinar. as well as recording and slides and Blue's lesson plan. So so you can expect that in your email within the next week. And I think that's all. That's all for us here tonight. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope that as many sessions as you got to attend in our autumn webinar series, they were helpful for you. Keep your eyes out on our social media for future events. And thank you so much for engaging with Macmillan Education. We will see you next time, and take care, everyone. Goodbye.